you everyone for joining us today, Integral Yogis out there. Joined today with Swami Asokananda. And it's been so much fun because just completing today advanced teacher training, and Swami Asokananda has been guiding us through the last few weeks. It's been fantastic, which has given me a good amount of time to find some juicy questions, hopefully, to ask. And so the first one.
Before you start, I just want to say how wonderful it was to have you in the program, to get to know you better, to see your sincerity as a spiritual seeker, and to meet your family a little bit. Someday folks have to see his daughter, Zen, an amazing sattvic soul. So it was great to be with you these past 3 weeks.
It's great to be with you too. Thank you. So I want to ask you about the joy of teaching and also the joy of preparation, because that was a message that came through to me strongly. And I think for teachers, this can be maybe a helpful sharing to maybe just give some insight into your preparation before you teach. Because my feeling is that you really enjoy to prepare for a class. You enjoy teaching, the act of it, but you also really enjoy preparation.
Let me think about that. I would say I really enjoy preparing the hatha class. I like to figure out the sequence. I like to test it on my own body, then present it, and then once I've tested on my body, I like to tweak it. Preparing workshops, I can't say a lot of fun for me. Just to organize my thoughts, it's not quite the same fun. I know it's totally necessary to have a clear, orderly presentation of ideas and to hone it. And usually it's a matter of weeding out extraneous stuff and just get right to the main point. When I give a talk, I like to think like if I'm reading a book and I'm highlighting the main points, my talk is just the highlighted points, so that I'm really getting to the essence of things. And I don't know if I'd use the word enjoying that part. And now I'm doing these Bhagavad Gita video lessons. Some people may be watching them. And it's amazing, just for those 5-minute video, I do have to really think about what am I going to say in 4 or 5 minutes. And I want it to come out pretty smoothly. I don't want to be looking at notes when I'm on video. So to be honest, I really enjoy the prep work for the hatha class. It's fun for me to get that just right for the students who are going to be coming. Of course, I may have to adapt it to the students. But the workshops and other programs, I put a little more effort to get it done right. Is that?
Yeah, it's totally understandable.
Yeah.
I think, no matter what we're doing, we all have preferences for, how easily it comes to us. But something that's very interesting to me is, it seems to be there's 2 parts. One is the part is, am I going to be doing this? So either yes, I'm going to be doing it, or no, I don't have to do it. Once that first decision has been made, yes, I'm going to do this, now you have a choice. You've already decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to give this workshop. Okay. Now I have a choice. Do I want to see the preparation and the doing of it as something like arduous that I have to get done? Or can I shift my relationship with it, since I know I'm already going to be doing with it? And I'm very interested in this, is seeing if we can shift our kind of mental and emotional relationship with the things that we already know we're going to have to be doing.
I mean, it's a bigger question, right? Just how to enjoy all aspects of your life. Once I commit to something, I want to find a way to enjoy it. And I'm moving away from more the administrative side of things. I've done that for like more than 45 years. And I think it's time for me to move into a different direction. So at our New York Center, I'm not the administrative head anymore. I'm the spiritual director. And once I take the administrative load off me, then I feel I have more space. So the preparation, I don't have to figure out when am I going to get this in. I have to run this whole yoga center. When am I supposed to get prepared for my programs? The audience may be thinking, I have my children, I have my job. How am I supposed to do extra workshops? So having that space has made a difference too. I think that's the main thing about enjoying something. I feel I can relax into it. I have the time to think about it carefully. I'm not pressured in terms of finding space for it. So that makes a big difference. And I do try to be selective. Like I was doing this ATT, we just completed today, and I offered to, you asked me to do this webinar. I said I can do that because it's no preparation. I'm just walking in to see you. But I offered to do a few other things, and I saw one of them I had to back off from, which I never like to do. I said I would do something, and I just saw within the confines of the program I was already committed to, the advanced teacher training. I had to say, you know what, I can't do this. It's too much pressure for me to do this. And then Reverend Ruja asked me to speak at the 10-day retreat that's happening now. I really don't want to say no, but I thought about it and I said, I'm here for advanced teacher training. I've got to focus. Even that's a full-time job for these 3 weeks. So being selective about what I accept. I do travel almost half time, and that's constant giving workshops and talks. So when I have to acknowledge that, tune in. Am I supposed to do this? Can someone else do it? My life for the last number of years has been based on the principle that if someone else can do it, they should do it. My life, the things that I have to do are more than a full plate. So if there's someone else can do it, they should do it. And I can't keep saying yes because that's actually saying no to something that actually be a high priority. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, yeah. And it reminds me of what you were speaking about in terms of finding like your own unique path and your niche in life. And I think that's really the stage one of what we're talking about. And that's not to be looked at lightly. Like, okay, I just have to do all of these things because I have to. Well, do I actually? Like, do I have to? Can someone else do that thing
even better than me?
Yeah, exactly. Because if I have even maybe not the most positive association with this thing, then if someone else has a more positive association and likes it more, let me find the thing that I really enjoy and feel that I'm good at. And but a question along these lines, I think, is sometimes it seems like that's too much of a dream to like live my life doing the things that like I really am passionate about.
Like
and maybe the belief in whether or not it's possible is the difference between whether or not it's possible.
It helps to believe it could be possible. Yeah, I think it's kind of worked out for me. I can't believe I have the life I live. So I think it is possible. But whatever it is that we're supposed to do, we're responsible for, just put our heart into that without taking it as a big burden. And I think if we keep going in that way, if you don't have a sense of your niche, it'll show itself to you, and the life that an ideal life, even more ideal than you maybe imagined, I think can unfold. Mm-hmm. It feels like that in my case, that I didn't know I could have such an enjoyable, inspired, fulfilling life. I had no reason to believe this fellow from Flushing, Queens would get to live this way. So it does help to believe that it's possible. But I think it starts from just what's in front of me, putting my heart into it without attachment to the result. Mm. And you're paying off your old debts, and you're finishing off old karmas, and you're not creating any new karma. And the path seems to open up. That's what I found.
can gratitude be a way to open this path? Kind of that's my question a little bit, because it seems that like wanting everything or feeling that we're entitled to certain things is an obstruction on our path, but it's basically the difference between feeling empty and feeling full. If you're feeling already full, then it's okay. I have to deal with what's in front of me, and maybe not all of those things are going to be like my ideal way to be living, but gosh, I'm so blessed. So even if I have to do some of these things, like no big deal. What do I expect? To only be able to be doing all the great things that I want to be doing all the time?
Yeah, life is not like that, So express that as a question that I should respond to.
What's between us and living a life of more gratitude?
Yeah, I found that it's really helpful for me to pay attention to the small things and the big things I should be grateful for before going to sleep, writing in my diary. I do analyze the day, but a big part of that diary writing is acknowledging, wow, this person did that. Just small things that I should be grateful for, how things unfolded in my life that day. And it does alert me, and that makes me pay attention in my daily life to how much I should be grateful for. So I think it can be a muscle that you need to develop to just awaken that awareness that we tend to be so aware of all the things going wrong and highlight that. And there may be a place for some of that. I wouldn't even label it as wrong. I don't see it as wrong, but sometimes those are the things you should be most grateful for, what you call wrong. But to at least have some sensitivity to, there are things every day, I can guarantee everyone pretty much, I don't know, there might be some dire situations, but where you can be grateful for something.
Do you think it's a survival mechanism that's been passed down to us to focus on what's wrong, right? It's like you have 10 people that you're in a relationship with, and 9 of those relationships are beautiful and healthy and wonderful, and then the one relationship, and you find yourself thinking about that one all day long. You're like, why am I giving so much more attention to that one? You know, and I think maybe it has to do with just this way of surviving, because whatever is wrong, I need to address that in order to keep surviving. But I guess my inquiry is maybe the next level of survival is actually flipping that over and turning to all the things that are great. Maybe that's a different way of surviving.
Yeah. Surviving without all those stressful hormones coursing through our system. Yeah, I think the Homo sapiens became the master race somewhat because of this biological feature of, I hear something rustling in the bush. It could be a tiger, saber-toothed tiger. It could be, I better grab a rock or run. We didn't think, oh, it's probably just the wind. No, it could be. So it could be that we survived because of that, that doom and gloom aspect of looking at things. There is a place for that still, but you know, there's something about even being able to come to the worst case scenario. It is a tiger, and now what am I going to do? I can live with the worst. Can I live with the worst case scenario? That's a way of also kind of relaxing into. I mean, okay, worst case scenario, I'm going to die. Am I really going to die? You know, that's the question the yogi would ask themselves. I'm speaking to, I don't know, maybe a few hundred people now. What if I say the wrong thing? Can you edit it out? I start to worry about all that. You know, I can't relax in the moment. I can't even think straight. You know, because how many people are watching? You know, what if I say the wrong thing? So Worst case scenario is that I say, don't show this to anybody. I'm not satisfied with it. So there's something about seeing what could happen and being able to accept that and relaxing into that. But that shouldn't be the only vision we have. I think that's your point. That okay, I can acknowledge that. That helped me to survive through so many different lifetimes. And now I have to also see, here comes the sun. Or there's sun, not even here it comes. The sun is already there. Mm. And we do learn in yoga that there is a happiness within us that no outer thing can bring it, and no outer thing can take it away. And even no inner thing can take it away. Even my mental state can't take it away. But yeah, I still have that syndrome you talked about. I'll read the ATT evaluations when I get back. And most of them are going to be good. We had a great experience. But someone is going to say, yeah, but I think this was missing, or the Swami I felt was a little this or that. And that's the one I'm going to remember. You're right about that. That's the one that's going to niggle in my brain. Yeah.
I think that maybe there's steps for us to overcome this in a gentle way. And I think
I want to hear this, yeah.
I think as an example, I think you even sharing it is an example of taking a step in that direction. So not taking the step means that you wouldn't even be aware of it. And you wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say it on
to
camera
anyone else.
sure.
You wouldn't say it on camera, right? So that's a step, right? So I'm very interested in how can we be gentle with ourselves as we walk in these steps towards, more progression, because it can't just happen all at once.
Yeah, you're not going to turn around at once. Yeah, these are deep-seated samskaras, impressions. Yeah, this one email that I got like 2 days ago that really made me jittery. I thought it was just wrong, the thinking. And I'm enjoying the ATT. I didn't want to get into this email and how I was going to respond to it, but it's sitting there, and my principle with email is that if someone writes to me, I'm going to respond within 24 hours, which would be a little difficult to accomplish, particularly if I'm on a program like this, but I try to hold to that. So I knew I had to deal with it. Yeah, there was something about, like you're saying, so I remember being gentle with myself about it, looking at, what is it that is disturbing about it, and then, that basic AA question: can I do something about it? Do I need to accept it? Can I know the difference? And I feel that I got to a good place with it, but I think you're right. I had to, really feel what I was feeling, not feel bad that you still get so affected by these things. What type of growth have you had all these decades? I didn't do that to myself. I just saw that it was a dilemma that had to be addressed, and I took pretty much that 24 hours to figure out what I needed to do. So, yeah, that was a step that I took, and then I felt I was in a good space to deal with that. Mm.
We've been talking about this idea of trying softer.
Trying softer, yeah.
Which I think that's kind of what we're saying here a little bit, and I see it also maybe as like a willpower of lightness, right?
Say a little more about that willpower of lightness. Then.
Like
you're determined to not try so hard.
Yeah, or it's not even. I think trying hard is great, but it's in what ways, and I feel, at least in this kind of the American culture that I grew up in a lot, it's this like, I need to get from point A to point B, and it doesn't matter who I have to knock out of my way in order to get there. That's the kind of the trying too hard is that I would say. That's where the willpower
Even
goes.
not someone else. I have to knock myself out of the way. Anything that's in my way, I'm going to knock out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And actually, I feel that this relates to faith a lot.
F-A-T-E or
Faith.
Faith, okay.
F-A-I-T-H.
Okay.
Because I think that this idea of kind of this determination, willpower, is not in alignment with reality. It's a delusion in a way. Because to me, what's more real and truthful is that there are so many things that happen that affect me that are outside of my control. One thing a person said to you when you're 10 years old makes you think to go to university for this profession, and then you become, a doctor because of that. And it doesn't really take much to reflect on your life and to see all these little small things that have had a tremendous impact. But to me, I think this is the elephant in the room a lot, where the ego wants to take over and say, no, I'm the one that gets credit. I'm the one that decides. And humility is put into a category of like, oh, that's a really nice thing to be humble. But to me, humility is just in alignment with reality. Because who am I to take credit for all of this? My whole life is intertwined with all of these other things. And I think that is really the core of what trying softer means and what it's all about, because it's in alignment with truth. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I'm hearing two things. I want to dissect them separately a little bit. There's the effort we put into something to accomplish something, and where the source of that effort comes from. And then there's the taking of credit for things that we so-called accomplish or didn't accomplish, taking credit or the blame for that. For the first one, willpower is it's not unlimited. You have to decide where I'm going to direct it, how much I actually have, how strong the thing that I'm trying to direct my will toward. Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita was in a very difficult situation. And the truth is, if he tried to handle it through his own energy, he would not have accomplished, he would have been defeated. It's an internal story, really. It's what Joseph Campbell talks about, this archetypal myth. So he did the smart thing of getting Sri Krishna to be his charioteer. And only with that, as you say, faith, his faith let him allow Krishna to drive the chariot. He still had to do, but connected to Krishna or the higher self. And I've learned that again and again, that I think I do need to expend the necessary energy to do my best, and then I have to recognize when that's anything further now is going to come from another source of power, and that power is not limited. Mm-hmm. That's not pulling on a battery that's getting drained. Actually, I think that power gets stronger through accessing it. The second point about I did it, I accomplished it. That's a hard one. It's always going to be some part of you that feels that, I think. At least I've never been able to totally think that, get away from that I feeling. I understand the downside of that and the illusion of that. I think to get out of that, you really have to be above the body consciousness and have gone pretty deep in your meditation practice so you can observe the mind. Otherwise, the part of you is going to claim ownership. Like right now, can I really feel that I'm not speaking to you? It's not me. I'm observing this, and the gunas of Prakriti are operating now, and I'm the witness to it. I know it, but it may not be a deep enough level. I still have to go deeper to totally understand that. Am I addressing what you brought?
Totally. Yeah, you're totally addressing it.
Yeah.
I really like to use rationality, like I told you.
You like that?
Even to find the letting go, the surrender.
You have to be rational, let go. Yeah.
Because even I go deeper into rationality, and I say, what did you say about kind of using your own willpower or the me, the I, doing something? Even if we step back and we look at that, who is that I? That's doing it. Like, did I create it? Even if I do something that I feel as, I did really good, I was really kind to someone, I helped them out, okay, I can take credit for it, right? But I didn't create it myself. On that
10-year-old boy who said, I want to become a doctor, somehow it all came together that this moment I'm helping this person. Did I do that, or where did it come from? Yeah.
And I think really, like, I've been contemplating this a little bit, that this example shows how deep we're caught in the ego game.
Which example?
This taking credit thing. Because if we say, okay, there's no credit to take, then what do? Like, what's the point of anything? If it doesn't matter if I do good things or if I do bad things, if I'm not the one in charge of it, there's no like scoreboard, so to speak. Then what's the point? And I think that's the fear behind it. It seems like things will be maybe like go into chaos or something. That's the maybe on more of an unconscious level. But what I hear when Gurudev talks about service is that I think that he was right there and he understood it. And that when you go to a point like this, things don't go into chaos. When you go into a point of not being attached to the I, that doesn't, instead, you only become interested in service. That's the only point. And that's the wonderful part of nature, I think, the way that it's set up. Once you give away that I, then it's just like, okay, what can I do that's going to be useful? How can I be useful? And there's also a softness to it. There's a lightness to how I move through everything. There's no this rigidness, which makes it much more effective, I think, too.
Yeah, I think if you really are, can accomplish what you're saying, of course we should understand it's rare. Even the thought, how can I be useful, won't come into your mind. You'll be, whatever needs to be expressed, will come through you. And you won't say, I did it.
But it'll end up being useful.
It'll be very useful. It'll be much more useful than if you go out there and try to be useful. There's a saying, the helping hand strikes again. Sometimes what we call useful, please be useful somewhere else.
But this leads me to wanting to ask you about your description of our relationship between the first self and the second self, and the third and the fourth. But let's just talk about the first and the second. So would you be willing to just explain the difference between the first and the second self?
Yeah. So Avi's referring to the satsang I gave last Saturday, where I talked about different me's, different levels of me. And the first me is the physical and personality level. And if you take that as your me, which probably, 98 or 99% of the population do, it's like, this is the whole me, and I'm thinking that my pinky fingernail is me. I think this is me. That's the first level. But the thing is, that pinky fingernail is important. Some people say, oh, I'm attached to this, and have a negative relationship toward it. You need that pinky fingernail. And then, the second level, or the part of us that's been traveling lifetime after lifetime, probably different species, many different human births, called the soul level. That's a bigger me. It's still probably not the whole picture, because there's a me that's even beyond the traveling me. So I was asking about the relationship between the first me, the pinky fingernail me, and this soul me. Is that your question?
Yeah, and it really resonates with me when you say that it would be wise to foster a healthy relationship with that first me, instead of just saying, like, to feel guilty or shame about, maybe my attachment to the senses and to the body, that sort of thing. Or even when you talk about meditation, when the thoughts come in, that can be considered, the first level. Instead of saying, oh, thoughts, these are terrible thoughts, why am I thinking about it? Instead, to turn, to look at it, to acknowledge, to accept it, and then maybe from there to move in a different direction.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Many people in spiritual life, and maybe even some spiritual traditions, encourage this negative outlook toward the physical existence, to desires, to the senses. And I took that on for a few decades. And I think it just made me more neurotic. Spiritual path brought out my neuroses and amplified them. And I think that also may have been good. I can be grateful for that, because I just saw it doesn't work to approach it that way. I have to find another way. So I tried my best to get all those different poles off the voices. So let's sit down at the table, a round table, and let's hear what everyone needs to be happy or fulfilled. And I think I've worked it out to some degree. And no voice, I think, is suppressed or thought as disgusting. And I do feel that for most of us, maybe all of us, it's a necessary way to approach spiritual life, to, again, this kind of soft approach and accommodating approach to all parts of your being. I think those are some thoughts. Maybe you can pull off something more out of me, but those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah. It makes me think of the middle way a lot.
Yeah.
So to acknowledge, okay, whatever it is that you really enjoy doing, and maybe you feel that it's not the healthiest thing for you. Well, I think each thing is different. Each different activity that we do has a different effect on us. So maybe the idea is to develop a relationship with each of those things. So you can say, man, I love eating ice cream, right? But if I eat it every day, or if I eat it too late in the evening, or whatever it is. So you don't need to say, I feel strongly that there's this tendency to fall into extremes, and then that is the real trap, that we want to be on a team. We want to be on a side. Either,
which is my side. Yeah.
I'm on the dairy side, or I'm on the non or the vegetarian side, or that. And for some things, the answer could be no, 0. Okay, meat. I'm not going to have. That could be something that you say, okay, that I don't want that ever, and that's fine too. That's your relationship with that thing. Yeah. But even I don't know, even that for me, and some people can go cold turkey, and that's fine. And again, you decide for yourself how you're going to do it. But just this process of constantly reflecting and saying, well, did that serve me when I ate it, or when I did this, or even time socially with other people. You can say, okay, I really enjoy being with other people, but if I do it throughout the day, and there's constant chatter and talking, did that serve me? Do I have more of a need for silence? And then you say, okay, and to be with myself, and you start to split up your day a little bit there, and you say, okay, I need this amount of time silence on my own, and I need this amount of time socializing, and that sort of thing. And maybe it's overwhelming, but I feel it's very rewarding to be reflecting on and constantly, sculpting our relationship with our senses, essentially.
Yeah, that's my experience also. The middle way that Buddha talks about, the Bhagavad Gita talks about, is harder than either the extreme of indulgence or asceticism. And the ego, I think, prefers extremes, and I did extreme things on both sides, indulgence and asceticism. Usually they go together. If you're too ascetic, you end up pulling the spring back too far, and then you indulge more than any normal person would. And I had to go through all those experiences, extremes. And some people may think I'm still extreme. To me, I really moderated myself. Just I think age and maturity, but also just, as you're saying, just watching and learning lessons. Does this serve me well? To overdo this or to deny myself this, and find that the right flow in my life. It takes a lot of maturity to enjoy life properly, And I was happy to see Swami Asokananda move about in this world, to see that you can live in this world and really enjoy it. And it's a different message than most spiritual traditions. As embodied beings, living with the senses in the world, you can really have fun. But you have to be really mature, spiritually mature.
I think perhaps the biggest obstacle is other people and comparing ourselves to them.
Well, even that is ourself, right? The problem is me comparing ourselves to other people, not the other people. Or you think it's the other people? Or is it
I think exactly what you said. That the issue is comparison, because it's all relative. Because you say, okay, well, at least I'm not doing something as much as they're doing. They're setting the table for what is appropriate, right? It's like, I don't know. For myself, sometimes I'm overwhelmed with. It's a little bit judgmental, but it seems that general culture and society is very unhealthy in a lot of ways. For example, the tendency to pick these teams and sides, and so to place yourself so far out is scary. But to me, that's the real game: is to tune inside and say, how much of this thing is good for me? Not, well, at least I'm doing it less than that guy. Over there, that's our level, of comparison.
I used to always, the only way I could assess myself was by comparing myself with others. I do think you gradually get an internal scale that weighs accurately, but it took me a while. I had no way of determining, am I a sincere person? Am I doing this properly? I guess comparing myself to others was the only way I could assess myself. And it's not a good measurement tool. Everyone has their own path. So it did take me quite a while. I'm still, not that I've accomplished it, but I'm still working on it. But I think that's the thing, to find my own way of assessing this the right amount, too much, too little.
I think food is a great example for you. You eat one meal a day,
right?
And that takes a certain amount of really tuning in and what serves me. It rings in my head. Comments that when I was a child saying, "Oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day," and stuff like that. Or most everyone else around is having 3 meals every day, and that's exactly what they're doing. So to step away from that, it takes. I don't know what it takes, but it takes something.
In the beginning, it took some craziness. Now, it would take a tremendous act of discipline for me to eat a second meal or even have even a snack. My system, after like 47 years, my system is just, this is how it is. It's adapted to it, it works for it. There may be people who say, no, that's not a healthy way to, to have your stomach so empty and then stuff it. But my fire is bright after like 23 hours. I'm ready to eat again. 1 day a week fasting, so that's almost 48 hours between meals. It seems to work for me. I feel 67 years old, I'm probably in the best shape of my life. Yeah. But yeah, I don't recommend it to anybody. I don't propagate that. It has to come from the right place to do that. There are people who say, from your example, I'm trying this out. This one lady I'm thinking about, she's on the Yoga Alliance board with me. She said, yeah, I watched you at these board meetings. You only eat one meal. It's really, and so me and my husband are trying it out. And the next meeting, we meet every quarter, she said, it's really working for me. So, okay, that's good to hear. She has the support of her husband. But I don't talk about it much.
Yeah, it takes a certain amount of reflection. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it myself because, just noticing, I fast once a week and I know, okay, how do I feel on the day that I fast? Or if I ate lighter, how do I feel? And if I ate heavier, then where's my energy level about? And also like to identify, is that my goal? Because I think it is. My goal is to have as much energy as possible. I want to have energy.
Yeah.
And so what serves that? There's something to also tasting pleasure and that giving you energy.
Right.
So it's not so clear cut always, but it's just, that's why I think of life as art in a lot of ways. It's just art and saying, okay, how did I feel now after I did this?
It's an art form. Yeah. But you're right. I like what you're saying is that the main purpose, of course, is the energy of the prana in the food that's going to help me to operate in this world. But then there is the enjoyment of it. And hopefully they go together, that the enjoyment also, as you say, brings a certain energy. Just how do I discipline that enjoyment part so that, of course, if I overload or put the wrong combination of things in, then I'm going to deplete the energy. So, yeah, eating is a true sign of working with the senses in a mature way. That's one of the big ones,
Again, I think this is a place where gratitude comes in. Because if the gratitude is sincere, you say, and you feel full, how many great meals have I had in my life? How many different varieties of food? Do I need to keep on, just having that many more of them? And, or just, I don't know.
Yeah, the other day, Malati made a meal for the staff. She made the dessert for the staff. And she made this amazing, it was a health food dish, so I was a little skeptical. I'm a little skeptical of health food desserts. But the texture, the sweetness, it was amazing. No sugar. And it was interesting to see. I had like a normal slice of it, and you know what? I'm satisfied, which was shocking to me. Normally, as I'm eating, I'm thinking about the next slice.
Right.
But it's exactly like you said, like I could be so grateful. This is so good. That was enough, which is kind of rare for me. Because I'm not going to eat it later. I'm not going to have it next night, at night. I'm not going to have it for dinner. So this is it for me. That's my mind thing. So, but no, I'm satisfied.
Okay, I think I want to challenge you a little bit on one thing, if I can.
Okay.
This idea of digging a deep well. Okay. I think Swami Asokananda was very big on this. Find your well and dig it deeply. I don't want to say that I disagree with it, but I think the main point that's also important that goes with that message is to make sure that you're in the right place to choose your well to dig. Because if and my point is here that I think often we maybe are slaves to the decisions of that we've made in the past. You make a resolution in the past and you say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm committed to it for however long. But maybe some point in the future you reflect and say, I'm not in that same place that I was in before, you know? And so kind of the promises that we made to our past selves have the potential to hold us back, you know, in the future. And it seems to me that it would be wise to constantly be reflecting and asking, oh, is this still the well for me? Knowing that, hey, if I choose to dig another well to start that resonates more, that's okay too, to kind of give yourself this sort of freedom.
I think the question is okay. Is this working for me? But I think it's, you know, it's not a question where it's not a doubt. It's an awareness of how you're being benefited or not being benefited. I think constantly doubting as you're digging the well will weaken your digging capacity. You'll stay more in the surface rock. You won't get through the hard rocks because that doubt is going to weaken you. So I think it's okay to stay alert. I think it could even help to dive deeper. The awareness of, is this working for me? For me, I think I was lucky, you know, at a very young age to find the path and to find that I never, you know, after a certain period, just drop all doubts and just keep digging, you know. Or even, doesn't feel like I'm digging anymore. It's being dug for me now at a certain point, you know. And I see that it's a little unusual for people to find their path and to commit to it, particularly at a young age. I do feel I benefited from that. And I do think, you know, if it's really the right path for you, particularly if the teacher is guiding the right way, you'll never feel guilty about saying, you know what, I'm so grateful for what I got on that path, and now I see I'm veering in a different direction, and the teacher or the lineage should support that. Go in that direction. Yeah, you know, you should always be grateful for what you got from how much water you got from that well. Hopefully you got something from that well, or even the attempt to dig had some benefit. And then hopefully without resentment, I need to turn direction. It never happened to me, so I can't talk about it from personal experience, but it makes sense that people would get something from a certain point and then maybe find another direction. But there is something beautiful about this is it, you know, diving in head first, and it works for you, you know, you're seeing it works. Yeah.
I feel it's just important to kind of make the distinction of when you know that it's it, and that's a beautiful thing. When you're like, this is it, it's in my heart, I'm doing it. But as opposed to what I think maybe can happen when some people hear that, where like some kind of neurosis might develop, where it's I need to choose now, as opposed to no, I'm just going to wait until my heart, and having faith and trust that like, okay, the heart will call to me when the time is. So not forcing it, basically. Yeah,
Gurudev didn't want me or even let me to take initiation until I was totally clear. No doubt, you know. And even then, you know, I did come to me that clarity, but you know, that clarity may not stick later on. Some things came up, but once those things passed, once I overcame that, it's been a clear trajectory. I think I just still have more faith and devotion and surrender, but yeah, it was. There's something beautiful about facing your doubt, transcending it, and just diving deep. But yeah, I don't recommend diving deep until that doubt has been looked at very carefully. That's why when some people come to me about our lineage and taking commitment to our lineage, which for us means mantra initiation, I really discourage it. I mean, to get through me, you have to be, because that's what Gurudev did to me, you have to show me that you have that lack of doubt and clarity. Where some people, certain traditions, they really encourage to get initiated, join that lineage, and even some of our folks are more liberal about that. But I like to know that the person worked through their stuff and now they're going to stick with it. Because I've seen too many people get initiated and then a few years later they don't have any relationship toward it.
It's very challenging, I think, today's day more than ever, because there's so much stimulation and so many messages coming at you. You really have to have a strong practice, a meditation practice, I think.
You have to have some connection to the Sangha also.
Yeah.
That's why the Buddha talked about. It's not just the teacher and the teachings. It's like you say, there's too much out there to pull you away if you don't have a community that's supporting that. So, and most people aren't going to live in an ashram. They have to find ways of developing that community. What we're doing now. And what we're doing now is how we're doing it with technology.
Right.
It's hopefully helping to build a community. I really appreciate the work that you're doing with the DA. It's making a difference.
Yeah, thanks. It's fun. Which brings me, I think, one of the final questions I have is about fun. Gurudev says that God wants...
By the way, you're challenging me. It was not too bad.
Wasn't too bad? Okay. Good. This is from the video last night. That Gurudev said that God wants us to have fun and that the world isn't serious. Okay, that the world is not serious. How do we operate more on this level?
Woo. Yesterday, Kala, one of our advanced teacher trainees, her family came to join us for the graduation and then the meal. So I sat with her and her kids during the meal. So she has 2 daughters and then a very young child. So I asked her to tell me, what's the quality, in one word, what's the quality of each of these? So she looked at the older daughter, Mira, and she said, love. And I used to say a little bit more about that, how she just is natural to give. She won't be thinking about what she should take. And I said, that's good, but make sure I said, Mira, make sure you're taking care of your body, your instrument, so that you can keep giving. The other one she said was humor. She always has the light side of things somehow. I said, what about this young fellow? Was he maybe 3 years old? And she asked her, so what about you? She says, I'm a pirate. But I thought about that on the way home from lunch. I thought, so what about you? And I it's interesting. On the way, as I was thinking about that, someone was working on a sign leading to the monastery, and they took the sign down. And they were walking away. I said, "Where you go with that sign?" And I hope he understood I was kidding around. And he said, I'm going to bring it back, But I like that. I don't know this fellow, but I like that. Something just lighthearted came out of me, and I do think that's the direction that I want to. I am moving in after being such a kind of feeling a heavy load on my shoulders. I do feel that, and it's taken all these years to feel. If I was going to say the one quality is this lightheartedness, good humor, and fun. Something like she was saying about her second daughter. And it's easy to do when everything is relaxed and you're in good company and I'm at this ashram, I'm having a blissful time. But even when I get those emails that are going, I want to learn how to keep it lighthearted. Don't get too caught up in this drama here. So I do really believe it's a temporary situation. I don't want to. Doesn't mean I don't take it seriously. Gerd said, "Don't take it serious," but it doesn't mean be flippant about it. But I want to have the right level of seriousness and the right level of enjoying the story that's going on around me. I do ultimately believe that what the saints say is that it's not that much different than the dreams you have in your sleep, this level. It's also a projection. So it's really fun if you can be at that level to see how you're getting caught in your own dream, and to suffer that can be fun. How I'm getting caught in this email thing, or this stressful situation, or I don't have enough money, I don't have a partner, I don't have whatever it is, or I have a partner and this is miserable, that's my. The answer for me is it evolves through practice, and I don't think I'm consciously developing it. It is happening. I mean, you saw me in TT. My job was to, I think, keep it light, but I didn't feel it was my job. I felt that was naturally what should come from me.
It was my favorite part of it, the whole experience, the training. I didn't realize how often you were going to make me laugh, to be honest. You just did all the time. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be a comedian. Let's have fun time. It's so great to be together. Let's enjoy it.
And it's such a breath of fresh air, too, to even... This is where I think, kind of in a way, like determination or having a practice can be helpful for us. But it's often in areas like this where we won't necessarily make it into a practice because it's too much fun. Like, you're making fun your actual practice, and realizing that's a great service to other people to just be this light spirit that's, joking around and not taking themselves too seriously. Yeah. To me, it's as important of a service as any. It's
one of the best service. I mean, Guru have served us so well that way. Keeping it light. Don't make it a heavy, serious thing. And luckily, somehow I'm absorbing that, and it's starting to manifest. I'm glad you felt that.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah. I'm so glad. Thank you so much.
So enjoyable to have this dialogue with you, Javi.
Yeah, same.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light.